Good morning. That's 9:30, and I'm really excited to start our Natural Scotland week off with this morning's lesson. I know every time we have a live lesson, I say I'm excited to be here with you, and it sounds like I'm just repeating myself, but honestly, this is the best part of my job. I love these. I love having you with us every live lesson, and I just love having friends to join us to show you all kinds of wonderful things about Scotland and the environment. So this week is all about natural Scotland. And you might be wondering, what is that? What is it that we haven't learned about yet? So here is what we're going to do. This week, we're going to learn about so many different things. Today is all about animals and the difference between native animals, extinct animals, and naturalized wildlife. And Tuesday is all about geology. I wonder what that is. If you haven't heard of that before, it's all the study of rock formations and how Scotland was formed and how different it is now to what we know of Scotland these days, before, right? So how Scotland has changed over many thousands of years. And Wednesday is all about rainforests. And you might be wondering, what does a rainforest have to do with Scotland? We're very far north here. But we're not talking about a tropical rainforest. We're talking about Scottish rainforests. I didn't know until recently, but Scotland has its own rainforest, which is very cool. And we'll be learning loads about on Wednesday. That and other spectacular woodland habitats and some very special inhabitants of those habitats. And Thursday is all about how folk stories are an important part of learning and teaching about the natural world. And we'll get to experience this ourselves. And on Friday, as we usually do with a week of live lessons, we'll have an assembly for you to share all the lovely work that you have gotten up to throughout the week, and hopefully some photographs of yourselves if you'd like to share them as well, doing all the activities that we have for you this week. So that's Friday. Friday, we'll recap the week and find the answers to any questions that you might have during the week. So if you have a question that we don't answer during today's lesson, you can send it to us and we will do our best to find the answer for you along with our friends, okay? And don't forget to send us your work and photographs so we can showcase them during the assembly, because we can't see you just now, but we just love seeing the work that you send us and the photographs of yourselves enjoying yourselves. It's great. Right. So we're going to start out today before I introduce our guest for today, who, if you were here at the sound check, you know who it is. But I'm going to start with a little quiz to see how much do you know about Scotland's nature? Okay, so if you have a whiteboard or a piece of paper in front of you, you can use that, and you might use that later on in this lesson as well. Okay, but if you don't have that just yet, or you're still getting yourselves set up, you can just keep track yourselves. Okay, so we're going to get started. The first question is, how many islands are there in Scotland? If you think there are 200, put 2 hands up. If you think it's around 500, put 1 hand up. And if you think it's around 800, put your hand on your head. Right? So we know of some big islands, like the Orkney Islands and the Western Isles and the Shetland Islands, right? And Egg and Mull and Skye. But there's loads more. How many more are there? Right? If you want to put your answer in the chat, you can, but really we're just going to crack on because we've got an exciting guest. Oh, I see some guesses in the chat. David say 500. Another class says, oh, sorry, no, David says 800. Another class says 500. Another guess for 500. Split between 800 and 500. Okay, that's cheating, but I'll let it go for now. Right, let's see what the answer is. Drum roll, please. The answer is around 800 islands. How amazing is that? In fact, Scotland has over 790 islands, with 93 of them inhabited. And of course, that doesn't include the little groups of rock of land like the ones you can see in the photograph. Scottish government defines an island as a massive land that's surrounded by water at all times and that is above sea level in high tide. So there are some little rocky outcroppings that don't count as islands, but 790 of them is still quite a lot. Okay, next question. Which is the deepest loch in Scotland? Now, I'm obviously Canadian, so my pronunciation is going to be poor and I apologize in advance, but let's try this. First, 2 hands up if you think Loch Ness. Right, 1 hand up if you think Loch Morar. And a hand on your head if you think Loch Lomond is the deepest loch in Scotland. Not the biggest, but the deepest. The one that's got the deepest part in it. Which one do you think it might be? Oh, someone's got good geographical knowledge of the lochs around them. It's around the corner from yourselves. Good guess. Loch Ness. I can see why you've made that guess with all the stories of monsters living in that loch. Maybe. Lots of guesses for Loch Ness coming in. And I think the photograph there is absolutely beautiful while we're guessing. Right? Okay, so we've had tons of guesses for Loch Ness and 1 for Loch Morar. Let's see. No one's guessing Loch Lomond, oddly enough. The answer is Loch Morar. Well done. It might be only the 5th largest loch in Scotland in terms of surface area, but it is 310 meters at its deepest point, which is nearly as deep as the Eiffel Tower is high. That's really mind-blowing. If you think of how tall the Eiffel Tower is, that's how deep Loch Morar is at its deepest point. That's amazing. Right, 1 more question. How old is the oldest tree in Scotland? Is it 500 years? 2 hands up. Is it around 1,000 years? 1 hand up. And is it around 5,000 years? 1 hand on your head. How old can a tree be? What do we think? Oh, a guess for around 5,000, a guess for 1,000. Had to be pretty old. It would have think of everything a tree would have had to survive to be even 500 years old. That is amazing. That tree will have seen so much. Does anyone else know? Anyone else want to try a guess? Remember, there's no pressure. It's just a bit of a learning guess. Seeing a few guesses for around 5,000. That's good. Okay. Lots of people making a guess. Going for the big guess. Right. Well, I will let you know that incredibly, the oldest tree in Scotland is around 5,000 years old. So everyone with your hand on your head, well done you. It's actually estimated to be something between 500 to 900 years old. Now, obviously, we can't tell exactly because the best way to date a tree is to count the rings, and you can only do that if you cut it down. So or it falls down. We're not about to do that to this tree, obviously. But this tree is called the Fortingale yew, and it is located in the village of Fortingale, which is near Aberfeldy in Perthshire. So if any of you live near there or go to school near there, you might fancy a trip out one weekend to have a look. Well done, everyone, for the quiz. That was fun, and I hope you learned a few bits and pieces there. But now I am super excited to introduce our guest, Jasper Hughes, from the Royal Zoological Society of Scotland. And today he has some really cool things to show you. Remember, you'll need a whiteboard and a pen or a piece of paper for this lesson because Jasper's got a challenge for you later on, right? So if you don't already have those in front of you, maybe ask your teacher to take a wee minute and sort you out with something to write on, okay? But Jasper, welcome.
Hello, hello, how are you doing?
Excited to see what you've got for us today. Take it away.
I loved your quiz this morning. I got quite a few of them right, hopefully. So that was really cool.
Oh, well done.
I'll introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, I am Jasper. I am the Discovery and Learning Officer at the Highland Wildlife Park. And the Highland Wildlife Park is located in the Cairngorms National Park. So I'll tell you a little bit about RZSS. RZSS is the Royal Zoological Society of Scotland, and they own Edinburgh Zoo and the Highland Wildlife Park. And we are the conservation charity of Scotland, and we are trying to reverse the decline. We're trying to stop animals becoming extinct, disappearing, dropping in low numbers. So this is both native and exotic animals as well. And we're trying to reduce this by 50 animals by 2030. So we are involved in lots of conservation projects worldwide, but some of the projects we have on site as well. And we're going to go for a walk and a talk and tell you all about them. But where are we? Like I said, we are in the Cairngorms National Park. This is the largest national park in Scotland. It was created in 2003. It's the second park that was created. And the other one is, we've already mentioned its name, Loch Lomond and the Trossachs. So that can actually be found down towards, heading towards just north of Glasgow. Whereas we are much further north in the Highlands of Scotland, where it is actually a glorious day today. So the Cairngorms National Park actually covers about 6% of Scotland. And like I say, it is home to many rare and endangered animals. In fact, it has about 1/4 of the rare and endangered species in the UK. And some of those animals we have here in the park, and hopefully we'll be able to spot them. So there are animals like golden eagles, there are dotterel. If you don't know any of these animals, look them up because they are really cool. And some, like the crested tit, can only be found in Scotland. We got red squirrels, capercaillie, wildcats, and also otters. So what we're going to do now, we are going to go for a little wander, and I'm going to turn my camera around, and then we will see where we're going. Now we are heading to Wildcat Wood. Now, hopefully in Wildcat Wood, what do you think we could find in Wildcat Wood? Any ideas? I think the clue's in the name. It is wildcats. And wildcats are actually one of our big conservation projects that we're involved in. And we're one of the lead partners for helping re-establish wildcats back in the wild. Unfortunately, wildcats are functionally extinct. What this means is that they are disappearing because there are not many of them around. So we're now in Wildcat Wood. But what was Scotland like 4,000 years ago? When your teachers were young, Scotland was covered in forest. 1.5 million hectares of forest once covered Scotland. But this was home to lots of different animals. Some of these animals you may know. Put in the chat some animals that you think were found in Scotland 4,000 years ago. So, any ideas? So let's see what pops up. I'll give you some clues. They're big, they're brown, they are grrr. Some are small and brown. Oh, otters, mammoths. Yeah, we had mammoths, but not 4,000 years ago. That was over probably 30,000 years ago. Wolves, bear, yes, you got my very bad impersonation. So some have big teeth, flat tail, likes trees. Definitely not dodo. Dodos did not live in Scotland. So we've still got snakes. Yeah, we've got adders. So bear. Oh, no tigers. So tigers definitely not found in Scotland. We are looking at native species. So native species are animals that used to be found or are found in the local area. So I will turn my camera around and you can see this sign. So in Scotland, we had bear, we had beaver, we had wolves, elk, European crane, lynx, and wild boar. Okay, some of these animals we still have. The Eurasian beaver have been reintroduced back into Scotland. So Eurasian crane are on their way back. And some animals we still have, like capercaillie, golden eagle, but some of these animals are more endangered than others. Capercaillie have gone extinct once and are about to go extinct again. So we really need to look after our animals. So let us go for a wander and let us see what we can find. So like I was saying, I was talking about wildcats. Here we also have red squirrels. Red squirrels are also endangered in Scotland. So does anybody know why they might be endangered? I'll let you think about that one. But I was down here earlier and there was one of these animals walking through the aerial walkway that you can see here, but it seems to have disappeared. So these are the wildcats, and wildcats have been in Scotland for a very, very long time. But unfortunately, their population, their number has actually dropped quite dramatically because of domestic cats. Domestic cats have actually come into Scotland. They were actually brought over by the Romans, and they are what we call an invasive species. So, oh, I can see a wildcat. So now what I'm going to try and do is I am going to try and pop on my zoom lens. So it's gone dark now, but hopefully, there we go. Oh, no, there we go. So now let me see if I can, just asleep in the basket, there is a wildcat. So we have quite a few wildcats here on site because we are breeding them so that we can release them back into the wild. Now I'm just leaving my lens on. Oh, look, we got one. I'll take my lens off. There we go. There's one really close up here. This is one of our adult male wildcats. And look at that. So are you going to come up and say hello? Oh. So, oh, going up really high, up into the rafters. Now, look at those markings on that cat. These cats are fantastic. What do you call it when an animal blends into their environment? What do we call that? Pop it in the chat. When they blend into their environment, they're really good at hiding, but there's a special word for that, and it is called, what is it? Camouflage. Yes, well done. So, but look at that tail. They've got a nice big thick bushy tail, black blunt tip with 3 to 5 rings, and look at those stripes. They have also been known as the Highland tiger, and they're actually more endangered than tigers are out in Asia. But I'm going to come around here. Let's see what I can find here. So now I was, oh, look, 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 look. We have mum and we have one of the kittens. So, oh, it's running, going back in, it's hiding. Don't hide. So we've got mum, but we've also got, that was one of the kittens that you can see there. But, oh, it's very shy. So now this kitten is only about 4 weeks old, coming up to 5 weeks old. So, oh, look, there's another one. There's another one. They're hiding around the back. So what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to try and stick my zoom lens on so we can have a better look at them. So now this can be quite tricky. I've got to try and find where they've gone. Oh, they've moved. Where are they? Oh dear. Right, I'm going to come back off there. Oh, there's mum. She's back out. Oh, there's a kitten. Right, I'm going to try the lens again. There we go. Look at that. So we are, oh, there's another one popped out the back, just coming out. Now it's really difficult because I am shooting through the wire on their enclosure. So that's what those blurry lines are. So, but you can just about make out these kittens. So these kittens are actually really, really important because there are not many of them left in the wild. We think that there could be maybe 30 wildcats left in the wild, but that is not even guaranteed. Like I say, the big problem is that they are breeding with domestic cats and they are producing what we call hybrids, which is a mix between the two. So the mix between the two is not great because these animals, the wildcats, are perfectly well adapted to living in Scotland, whereas the domestic cat which actually comes from Asia, from the Middle East, is actually evolved for a much warmer environment. So they're not perfect. They're not a perfect match. So what we need is more wild cats rather than more domestic cats. So there we go. So we can see them and they're bobbing about. Absolutely fantastic. So now, you could probably be here all day watching these guys. I'm going to take the lens off, but I'm going to see if I can find another animal. So now this animal, we think possibly could have lived in Scotland, but we're not 100% sure. The reason why we're not 100% sure is because we haven't found any archaeological remains. But I don't know if you can see on one of those perches. Can anybody tell me what it is? Pop it in the chat. This is the largest of the species. Yes, it's an owl. And this is the European eagle owl. So the European eagle owl, like I say, is the largest owl in the world. And they can actually feed on anything up to baby deer and even foxes. So, and also cats. They can also hunt cats in the wild. So now currently, there are there are eagle owls in Great Britain. Some of these are escapees from falconry centres, and some of them are maybe have been blown in off the continent, but they are in isolated populations around the UK and they can be found, but they are fantastic. So now, these guys, they use their beak like a knife and a fork, and they use their feet. That's the bit that does the killing. So they can squeeze really, really strong with their feet. Right then, guys. So we didn't see any squirrels. There's no squirrels here at the moment. So, but we've seen wildcats, we've seen eagle owls, and we've learned about some of the animals past and present of Scotland. So what we are going to do now is, oh, there we go. We are going to go for a walk, but I am going to give you a quiz. So hopefully you've been paying attention. Hopefully you've been listening, and you are going to need your whiteboard and a pen, or even a pen and paper, or even you can just hold it in your head. You can either work on your own, you can work as teams or tables or in pairs. It's entirely up to you. So what we're going to do, we are going to have a quiz, and we are going to be talking about native or not native animals. So, and then you need to be able to identify what this animal is, and then you need to write down whether it is, give it a tick for native or a cross for not native. So identify the animal, and then a tick and a cross. Okay, right then. So now the slides are going to come up, and they will be up for 10 seconds. So you have to look at it, write it down as quickly as you can, and then it will move on to the next one. And there are 12 slides. Right, I'm going to take my camera off and my microphone, and I'm going to walk to the next animal, and hopefully we will then chat about the results, about your answers, and go from there. Right, ready when you are, Kat? Set the quiz, and I'm off.
Just pop back on so you can see me, not on your own. Here's the first one. Okay, move on. This one. number 4. And a tricky one for number 5. What this one is. What might that one be? Almost done, Jasper.
Fantastic.
Just on slide 9.
Well, I'm in position, but we're going to go through the answers first. So hopefully people are getting these animals. Hopefully you'll recognize some of them. Some of them.
This one's tricky.
They're quite difficult, some of them. Oh. So remember, you're writing down what it is and whether it is native or not native. So a tick or a cross next to the name of the species. Oh, the last one.
Needs to be the last one. Yep.
It is. Right then. So, should we go through the answers? So, what is the first one? Pop it in the chat. What is number 1? Can anybody write that down quickly? Tell me what it is. It was a type of bird, if I think I remember rightly. It wasn't a capercaillie. It was a red grouse, yes. So is it native or not native? Let's reveal the answer. It is native. Yes, they are found high up on the moors. So these animals, like I say, they're adapted to living in the heather, and they are most definitely a native species. What is number 2? Let us reveal the answer. It is a grey squirrel. Now, are grey squirrels native or not native? Pop that in the chat. Some people are saying not native. A lot of grey squirrels. Some got squirrels. Yeah, brilliant. I'll give you half a point for saying squirrel, but there really should be a colour there. And yes, they are not native. Reveal the answer, Kat. Yes. Now, they are not native because they actually come from North America. They were introduced into Britain around about the 1860s, 1880s, there or thereabouts. And they thought it'd be nice to have another red squirrel. But the big problem is that they can pass on squirrel pox. And squirrel pox is a really horrible disease, and it kills our native red squirrels, and they don't have any immunity and they die. And we have some of the biggest and best populations here in the Cairngorms National Park of red squirrels. Right then, number 2, what's the answer? A pine marten. Ooh, is this native or not native? Oh, we're getting a lot of people who are getting pine martens. Ferret, not quite a ferret. Ferrets are domesticated cousins of pine martens, and they are most definitely native. So, number 4. What is the answer to number 4? It is a rabbit. Are rabbits native or not native? Oh, some people put hares. So hares are much larger than rabbits. Rabbits are much smaller. Hares have black tips to their ears, and they are. What we're getting some not native, we're getting native, we're getting quite a mix, and they're actually not native. So everybody thinks that they are native, but they are what we call naturalized. So they have been here probably since the Romans came. They were brought over by the Romans, brought over by the Normans as a source of food and also as a source of fur as well. And they have become naturalized. Difference between the grey squirrel. Grey squirrel is an invasive species. They were brought over fairly recently, and unfortunately they are causing problems. Whereas rabbits, some people, they can cause problems, but now they've been in our countryside for long enough that they have become what we call naturalized. So number 5, what is number 5? Pop it in the chat. Pine hoverfly. Oh, some people said hornet, bee, bumblebee. Oh, very close. This was probably the most difficult animal to actually have to guess at. So this is a pine hoverfly, and pine hoverflies are critically endangered. There were only one site in Great Britain where you would have found pine hoverflies. Now we have about 3 or 4, and we at the Highland Wildlife Park are breeding pine hoverflies, and we are introducing them back into the wild where they belong. This is what zoos are all about. So if you want to learn more about this amazing animal, the pine hoverfly, go onto our website, go onto our YouTube channels. We've got some fantastic videos about standing up for the little guy, standing up for the pine hoverfly. It tells you all about the fantastic work that we are doing. So yes, they are native. So number 6, what is number 6? Oh, we got somebody getting ahead, red deer. Oh, and you got not native. Interesting. It is actually a seeker deer, not a red deer. It does look like a red deer, but you can tell that they are slightly different. If you look at the bottom end, the bum end of the deer, it is slightly speckled, and it is also, their antlers are a little bit different as well, and they've got a much smaller ruff around their neck. So this is actually another invasive species, a not native species, and it is the seeker deer. So number 7, what is that? What is number 7? Doo-doo-doo. It is a wildcat. Good. Some of you were paying attention. You recognized it. This is indeed a wildcat. So, and they are native. Piece of cake. We all knew that one. Number 8. What's number 8? So, what is number 8? Can anybody know? Can anybody get it in the type? Oh, we've got otter. We've got mink. We've got ferret. Oh, you were all close. They all belong to the same family, which is the mustelid family, but it is not an otter, if I remember rightly. Let's have a look. It is an American mink. So, and they are not native. So this is a big invasive species, which has been a real problem to our native wildlife. They tend to eat a lot of ground nesting birds, and we're losing ground nesting birds. Yes, they are not native. So number 9, what we got? What we got? It is, number 9 is, oh, we got beavers. Some put not native, some say native. Oh, they were extinct 400 years ago and have now been reintroduced back into Scotland. And we are actually, again, one of the lead partners for the reintroduction of beaver back into Scotland. So they are native. So number 10, what's number 10? We're going to have to rattle through these quite quickly. So what is number 10? Any ideas? Reveal the answer, Cat. It is, we've got goats, It is a goat. It's a feral goat, probably Angora, possibly. This would have been a goat that came from a croft, a small farm, and they are now wild. So they are feral, which means that they were domesticated and then released into the wild. And this is not native. So, like I say, they haven't been long enough in Britain to become established. So number 10, number 11, what's number 11, Kat? It is a European crane. Emu? I like the idea of having an emu in Scotland, but unfortunately, I'm afraid that's not quite right. So it is a European crane, and yes, so they are native. And the European lynx, they are native, but they are extinct. So we think that they died out maybe up until the late medieval times. So I'm going to turn my camera around because I am now at another animal which is native but extinct in the wild. So their conservation status is of least concern. These are the European wolves, but you can get global extinction like the dodo, like the mammoth, or you can get local extinction like the wolves, the bear, and the lynx. So we currently have 5 wolves here. We've got Jax and his 4 sons. So they were born in 2002 in 2018, 2 in 2019. When you say extinct, do you mean only in the wild or in the UK? This is it. It's a very maneuverable term. So extinct can be global extinction, like the dodo or the mammoth, and they're gone forever, never to be seen again. Or you can get local extinction, so that they are now not found wherever you are local. So, for example, the wolves, like I say, are locally extinct in Great Britain. Hopefully that makes sense. And like I say, we've got these amazing guys here. So where are they just heading off? So they've got all this enclosure. You can see there's some of the remains of some of their food, and we feed these guys pretty much anything that had a pulse. So horse, beef, venison, they eat pheasant, duck. So whatever we've got, this is what we give them. And we also leave the bones in as well, so that they can actually chew on the bones. And that's what you can see in there. So we're going to head up. Now, I know we are getting a little bit short on time. So, Kat, you tell me, you know me, I can talk forever about all the animals that we've got here. You tell me when you want me to stop, because I could just wander around here and find some of our fantastic animals.
No problem.
I'm just trying to see. We've got some animals in here, and they appear to be hiding. And we actually have forest reindeer. Now, forest reindeer, in fact, reindeer. Here's a pop quiz for you. Reindeer, are they native or not native? Where are they hiding? Oh, there's a reindeer, there's a reindeer, there's a reindeer. Oh, I'll take it around the side. There you go. It's a jaunty angle because I'm just trying to get the best view here. So, are reindeer native? Well, yes, they used to be. We believe that reindeer were found in Scotland, possibly up until the 13th century. So we're not 100% sure, but there have been some written stories about the Vikings hunting reindeer. And if anybody's going to know what a reindeer looks like, it's going to be the Vikings. But this is actually one of our forest reindeer, a little bit different from the tundra reindeer. Tundra reindeer is what Santa has. Whereas these guys, the tundra reindeer live out in the open, whereas the forest reindeer, they live in the forest. And they've got slightly longer legs and narrower antlers on the top of their head. Hello. So look at those feet. They got huge feet. Absolutely fantastic. So now they do have things on the top of their heads. They're called antlers. And she hasn't grown any. So, but it is both male and female. Oh, where are you going? So it's both male and female that have antlers. And they are the only species of deer where both male and female have antlers. and whereas all the other deer, it's just the boys. So they are starting to look a little bit scruffy at the moment. They're starting to lose their winter coat. You wouldn't wear your winter woolies in the middle of summer. Neither do these guys. Look at them. Hello, young lady. So we do have some other reindeer, but they do seem to be hiding. So we have a male, and this is currently a female. And anybody know what a male and a female reindeer are called? They are the same as cows. A male is called what's a male cow called? Pop it in the chats. Any ideas? A male cow is called a male, cow is called a cow, a bull, and a female is called a cow. So,
Jasper,
yes.
that's 10 past 10. I don't want to stop, but I think we're going to have to. Look at her feet. She is just gorgeous. You're right. She's got the largest feet I've ever seen on a deer before. That is amazing.
Super large feet, so that they act as snowshoes so they don't sink, but absolutely fantastic.
She's gorgeous.
Well, guys, I hope you've learned about some of the amazing animals that have lived in Scotland, that are in Scotland, and maybe if you have time, you could even come up to the park for a visit and see some of these amazing animals in person.
Definitely
right then, guys,
that.
I'm gonna sign off. I'm gonna say goodbye, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Oh, thank you so much, Jasper. It's always a pleasure to see you and all your animal friends and have you show us around the park and tell us all about all the brilliant conservation work that you're doing there. Thank you so much.
No problem. Not a problem. I'll leave you with the deer.
Oh, she's just gorgeous. Well, I hope that you enjoyed today's lesson. I'm going to share this again while we just do a quick sign off. There we go. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Thumbs up if yes, lots. Thumbs sideways if a little bit. And thumbs down if no. Your feedback really helps us when we put together these lessons, and feedback from pupils is the best kind of feedback because we make these for yourselves after all. We're kind of running out of time, but just remember one thing you learned today. If you can pop that in the chat if you're still there, it'd be great to hear what your takeaway for the lesson is. Did you learn what was one thing that you learned today? I learned that reindeer have huge feet. Well, that kind of reindeer does. And that they act as snowshoes, which was pretty cool. Good thought. If you think about it, they need to stay above the snow, don't want to sink in. So that's very cool. And yes, wildcat kittens are adorable and very shy. It's actually a good thing that they're shy, though. I know it's frustrating to have to search for them with the camera, but we don't want them to get used to people because we want them to stay wild. So that's why they're very shy and hard to find. But Jasper did a great job finding them for us today. So thank you for that. Right. And so quickly, what we would like you to do today after today's lesson, because we always have an activity, we'd like you to test your knowledge of Scotland. There is an activity in the folder for your teachers. Teachers, if you're not sure what the folder is, give us a shout on email and we'll send you the link again. There's a folder full of activities there for you. There is a whole class map of Scotland exercise. And as you can see from the picture, my colleagues and I at KSB tried this activity ourselves and it was great fun. We had a blast giving it a go. I'm not going to tell you too much about what it is, but you can see we're trying to make something out of rope there, and I'll let you guess what that might be and have a look at the activity. If you try this activity, we would just love to see a photo of you trying it, or let us know how you got on, because we have some funny stories from our attempt to do it. It was very good. Remember, you can say hello and share your work with us. You can find us on every social media platform at KSB Scotland, or in the usual email address, ecoschools@keepscotlandbeautiful.org. And we have another lesson for you tomorrow, same time, same channel, and I hope to see you there. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your Monday.